From our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Peter Murphy begins now.
Good evening. Tomorrow's Hawthorn North Melbourne game will go ahead at UTAS Stadium, but at an earlier time. Ongoing blackouts and the Tas network strike almost forcing the AFL to pull the pin. Some homes enduring power outages for a third straight day as industrial action drags on.
The food trucks and players are here. Everything's ready for the game that almost wasn't to be. The looming threat of blackouts forcing crisis talks at the AFL, opting to bring the Hawks-Roos game forward several hours to a 12:30 bounce to make sure the lights aren't needed. And while they're working at UTAS Stadium, across Invermay at Mike's place, it's a very different story.
These last 3 days have just been really terrible.
Jacob came to visit his grandfather this morning to find he'd tripped in the dark and broken his leg, unable to call for help with the phone out.
And he was laying on the floor because he just broke his leg. He got no phones at the moment because there's no power, so it's bloody ridiculous. Thank God I called around, or otherwise he'd be laying there for a couple of days. Tas Networks bringing in external contractors to slowly restore power from a peak of 17 separate outages today, still affecting around 500 homes and businesses, some for as long as 36 hours, after line workers walked off the job, claiming to be paid 35% less than mainland counterparts, a figure Tas Networks disputes.
If it goes much longer than this afternoon, there will be stuff in the fridge we will have to get rid of. Yes, I think Tas Network should just come to the party and that's it. You know, we don't want any more of this.
Network bosses are meeting with the union on Tuesday. Until then, you might want to keep your torch handy. But 3 days in, we're yet to hear from Energy Minister Nick Duigan.
There is a solution here. There is a way that our communities get the power back on, and that's by Duigan and Tas Networks getting to the table and being part of the conversation.
The Minister has been in discussions, and we are hoping that there will be a resolution in good faith.
But those affected have a blunt message to all involved.
Pull their heads in. That's my best message to them.
Nick Kelly, 7 Tasmania News.
Staff at the Royal Hobart Hospital have been told the emergency department's $130 million redevelopment has been put on hold due to financial constraints. Leaked emails obtained by 7 Tasmania News reveal the estimated cost to be $50 million more than the allocated budget.
We know that there are critical elements of this redevelopment that just won't happen now.
That means that the efficiencies for staff around being able to transport patients, to be able to increase capacity of the ED are going to be affected.
The Health Department has denied the claims, adding the current design plans have been recommended by key stakeholders within Tasmania's health system. The safety of teachers inside Tasmanian colleges is in the spotlight tonight, with reports of rising violence and assaults. The horror classroom conditions are being exposed as the education sector warns looming budget cuts could spell further disaster.
Pinned against walls, smacked in the head, even death threats. These are just some of the violent conditions staff say they're facing at Tasmanian colleges.
I've had to lock doors, I've had to lock down buildings. It's a regular occurrence that's happening weekly, if not monthly, in schools.
The Education Union claims violence is on the rise and it's a lack of alternative education programs to blame, with more disengaged students entering years 11 and 12 without sufficient support.
They're being put into the college system and they are being set to fail. They're being thrown in the deep end without any type of protection.
The volatile classroom conditions not just taking a toll on staff.
Teachers have to deal with the fallout of that. They have to comfort students that have been through this. And there are students that can't attend school because they're too scared. They've had bones broken.
It's calling for an urgent funding fix, wanting the government to expand programs so students' needs can be adequately addressed.
The Minister is the one who can provide the funds to ensure we do actually have that support in our college system.
The Education Minister says violence and bullying have no place in our schools, and the government is committed to ensuring schools are resourced and supported to meet the needs of students and will continue to fund schools on this basis. Victoria Risto, 7 Tasmania News.
55 years ago, Lucille Butterworth disappeared from a Claremont bus stop, never to be seen again. Her remains were never recovered and the family never given closure. But authorities strongly believe that someone knows something all these years later.
There could be a new lead in one of Tasmania's oldest cold case mysteries.
We've received information this year and we investigate any new information that comes across.
But Tasmania Police continue hunting for more, as they, like many Tasmanians, continue asking what happened to Lucille Butterworth. Nearly 55 years since she disappeared from a Claremont Main Road bus stop on Monday, August 25, 1969.
Some people might have relatives or friends that know something about it, and we tend to find that sometimes when they pass away, people come forward with that information.
A 2016 coronial inquest determining she had accepted a lift from Jeffrey Charles Hunt. Just 15 minutes later, the report stated she was murdered on the Lyell Highway between Granton and New Norfolk, with her body disposed of on the banks of the River Derwent. But no charges were ever laid.
Well, that's where all the evidence has been pointing, and we've done numerous searches and that along in that area.
But that didn't stop her family scouring land and water for clues.
I must say that I love my sister immensely.
Police have strong suspicions that someone in Tasmania knows something, and any information, no matter how small, could help bring Lucille's family some closure. But until that happens, these special memorial sites are a reminder of a young life denied a peaceful resting place.
I was here.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
TT Line has had dozens of convictions thrown out of court after a successful Supreme Court appeal over the deaths of 16 polo horses it ferried across Bass Strait in 2018. Tasmania's Chief Justice Alan Blow has quashed all bar 2 convictions, upholding charges relating to the double stalling of horses. The lengthy legal battle win will also see the Spirit of Tasmania operator pay just a $4,000 fine. A welcome boost for Tasmanian farmers, with the state government injecting over $1 million to expand irrigation and agricultural research over the next 3 years, aiming to give current and future farmers the tools to combat impacts on water resources and soils. Farmers say it's vital when starting out in the industry.
This information that will come out of this will help a lot of other people get started the right way the first time.
We know that irrigation is a game changer for all farmers, and we see that across Tasmania.
It's also hoping to boost financial prospects and secure water supplies for the future. Launceston's crime wave continues with an audacious break-in overnight at a West Launceston service station. A small amount of cash was stolen, but worryingly, it's the 4th assault on the business in recent months.
Security cameras capture the effort by 2 robbers to break into the Shell service station just before 4 a.m. Determined to not give up, repeatedly forcing the doors, allowing one to slip through.
Obviously they got into the store and they straight came into the till and they got the till, and probably till has got like $400, $450 in it. And then he handed that till to the guy who is outside.
Raj says the thieves also tried to steal cigarettes, breaking into the shuttered cupboards protecting the smokes. They fled empty-handed when the security alarm sounded. It's not the first time the servo has been targeted. In fact, it's the 4th robbery attempt in the past 8 months.
And this is the first time the people actually can get into the store. The first time we had pretty much the big one as well. They came in and they tried to break the door, and with the ute, they backed up with the ute and they tried to break the door, but they couldn't get in.
Previously, thieves tried to jemmy the door open, but to no avail. A 3rd attempted break-in saw a hire trailer stolen from behind locked gates. Raj doesn't believe his business is a soft target.
It's happening all over Launceston these days. If you see, like, all the IGs are getting broken into and all the petrol stations.
He has a warning for those who might try again.
We do have really good customers, they are really helping us to share our posts and everything to find the people who did this.
Melinda Ogden, 7 Tasmania News.
Federal and state Labor politicians have vowed to fight for Tasmania's aquaculture industry workers as a decision over the future of salmon farming in Macquarie Harbour awaits. Environment Minister Tanya Plibersek is considering submissions by environmental activists who believe salmon fishing should be halted to protect the endangered Maugean skate.
It is absolutely life and death for strawn, and we shouldn't be lied about that. We know it's 1 in 2 jobs for the strawn community. It's the school, it's the football team, it's the IGA, it's the service station, it's the pub. That's what's hanging on this decision.
West Coast aquaculture industry workers argue communities, including the township of Strawn, will be decimated if salmon fishing in Macquarie Harbour is halted. If you've ever wondered if you have a convict ancestor like William Murphy, who came out on the First Fleet, now you have the opportunity to find out. Experts behind Port Arthur and the Cascades Female Factory are set to help Tasmanians uncover their heritage this weekend.
We do have people that will be able to answer questions, help you explore the past, research the past, and find out something that you may not have known.
Convict life was really varied. Sometimes there's really grim and sad stories, but there's also stories of triumph and resilience.
The free event is part of Family History Month and is spread across Saturday and Sunday. Bragging rights, dignity and even a victory tattoo will be on the line when media personalities and politicians square off against local musicians in the 8th Rlink Community Cup this weekend. The Van Diemen Dogs are looking to make it 5 in a row and are promising to pull out all their best stunts if they are to keep their winning streak alive.
Probably a tattoo across my face. And my approach to the football is pretty unorthodox. I think my special talent is just being in the wrong place at the right time.
It's an entertaining game of football Hobart will see this year. It's going to be full of our usual shenanigans, so punters can expect a great game of footy, mediocre footy at best.
The annual charity match raises vital funds for Rlink Australia, helping achieve social equity through sporting programs across the state. Tasmanian winemakers are raising a glass to a major funding boost. The federal government uncorking more cash as part of its multi-million-dollar tourism and cellar door grants program, supporting local producers.
No sour grapes here, only a toast to more funding being poured into Tasmania's wineries and cellar doors.
Yeah, there's so many great wine experiences and smaller cellar doors that this grant is a huge boost to them.
The Federal Agricultural Minister announcing another $10 million for industries nationwide, giving wine producers up to $100,000 to improve their business.
We know that some of the wineries, particularly on mainland Australia in terms of trade to China, have had some significant issues.
The cash boost hoping to make our state's agritourism prospects more fruitful, also showcasing what Tasmania has to offer.
And what we collectively want to create is a Tasmanian industry that, really is on the radar nationally and internationally.
And bolstering a guest experience, something wineries say is a key ingredient for the perfect drop and a flourishing industry.
And the cellar door experiences are so valuable for people to come and understand your brand and to really get involved in tasting the wines and experiencing what you create.
An independent review into the country's grape and wine sector will also be carried out by Dr. Craig Emerson, analysing fair trading, competitive relationships and risk allocation, the measure aiming to support long-term viability for the sector.
He'll be talking to grape growers, to winemakers and to wineries across the country, more than 6,000 wineries across the country, about that whole supply chain.
A report is expected to be handed down by the end of the year. Rebecca Gaidaneris at 7 Tasmanian News.
The popular Agrarian Kitchen in Tasmania's south has gained national recognition after it won Gourmet Traveller's Restaurant of the Year. Dubbed a global dining destination, the eatery includes a restaurant, cooking school and garden, putting the very best of Tasmanian produce all on the one plate.
Nestled at the head of the Derwent Valley, the Agrarian Kitchen lives up to its name.
It's really about getting people connected back to the garden, and we spend time out in the garden harvesting.
Whether you're dining in the restaurant or cooking up a storm in the private class, the kitchen prides itself on nurturing the food grown on site. It's a passion for co-founder Rodney Dunn, who moved to the area 17 years ago.
It's really all about flavour. That was the impetus of even moving to Tasmania and starting the Agrarian Kitchen.
Built on the grounds of a former psychiatric hospital, the history is as rich outside as it is inside.
So this was called Ward C.
It was the maximum security for the criminally insane men. The exercise yard, yeah, so where they were let out to get some sun and be able to, stretch their legs and walk around.
Transformed into a lush garden, the ground now home to a never-ending supply of fresh ingredients.
Everything you see here gets used.
It's been a busy week for the kitchen, taking out Gourmet Travellers Restaurant of the Year, a first for our island since the award's conception 45 years ago.
It's a little bit surreal, being voted as the top restaurant in the whole country doesn't generally happen to rural restaurants.
As for what's next,
we'll have to wait and see what plays out.
Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
It's a grand final replay this weekend in the NWFL Women's League as Penguin seeks revenge against Wynyard for last year's decider loss. Penguin is flying high after a dominant preliminary final win. They play Sunday afternoon in Devonport. Having seized top spot last week with a win over the Glenorchy Knights, South Hobart are treating every game like a final. The side prepares to host defending champs Devonport Strikers this weekend, the biggest obstacle remaining in their bid to claim the league title.
With the slip-ups we had early on in the season, we've sort of put ourselves in the position where we do need to it is just down to winning every game now.
Despite the WSL title being out of reach, South Hobart say there's still plenty to play for in their game against the Strikers.
We still want to win the game, so we're really looking to tie down that second place. That is our focus, that is our goal.
Meanwhile, Riverside Olympic will host Launceston United in the final derby of the year, with United looking to make it 3 from 3 over their neighbours for the season. No strangers to the grand final. It's been a few years since the Troona Penguins have lifted the silverware in the Tasmanian Rugby Union Premier Grade. They're banking on a solid backline effort on Saturday to get the job done against Launceston when they play each other in the decider for a third year running.
Moving forward, ball comes to Andreessen.
They do go in as favourites, and nobody is, except for us, are really saying that they can see us beating them. But we're pretty sure that we can get close to them. If we get close to them and it's a final, you never know what's going to happen next.
Taroona's going for a double, also playing Uni Queens in the women's grand final. Move over Willy Wonka. Tas Racing is handing out the golden tickets now, offering a rare opportunity to the winners of next year's Launceston Cup. This golden ticket will entitle a horse to start in October's $500,000 Geelong Cup, one of the Melbourne Cup's lead-up races. It's thanks to a collaboration with the Geelong Racing Club. And Murph, I know you're heading off to the Hawks game tomorrow. Don't forget it has been moved to 12:30. Don't want you to miss it.
Mate, I'm still asleep at that time of the day. I'll have to get the alarm on. Thanks for that, Nick. Kaya will join us after the break with the weather forecast for the weekend.
Good evening. Hobart and Burnie 17, 16 the high for Launceston and 15 in Devonport, with minimum temperatures 3 to 6 degrees above average. The maximum was recorded at Friendly Beaches today with 18, 17 in St Helens and Maria Island, Ooze 16, 15 for the islands, and also at Smithton, Lowhead, Grove and Strawn. Laiwini saw 9 degrees today. We experienced overcast skies about the west and south, with cloudy conditions seen elsewhere. Mid to upper level cloud with embedded thunderstorms are also seen over much of SA, Victoria and New South Wales. A warm front crosses Tasmania early tomorrow morning, bringing areas of rain and mist to much of Tasmania. North to northeasterly winds 15 to 25 knots, tending northwesterly throughout the day, with west to southwesterly swells peaking at 3.5 metres. A strong wind warning has been issued for coastal waters tomorrow between Sandy Cape around to St Helens Point. Easing showers in Hobart and Oatlands tomorrow, 14. Showery also over Medina, 12's the high. Rain expected for Launceston, 15, although easing in Devonport, 16, and much the same in Laiwini with 11 the maximum. Soggy and 15 degrees all round for the west tomorrow, with wet weather easing in Burnie. Rain easing also in St Helens and Swansea, 16 there. Similar conditions for Orford with 14. Forecast now for Sunday. Statewide showers increasing to rain throughout the day. Monday showers continue statewide, although they'll ease and contract to the north and west throughout the day. No change on Tuesday, with showers remaining statewide and increasing later in the day. Becoming windy in Perth tomorrow, 19, fine in Adelaide, 23, a morning shower on the way for Sydney, and a hot and sunny 35 degrees for Alice Springs. Cloudy across the state this Friday evening, 11 in Hobart, 12 in Launceston and also in Devonport. A quick shout out tonight, Murph, to some incredible inspirational young ladies who are taking to Clifton Beach tomorrow for the Daffodil Day Dip to raise funds and awareness for a special friend that has been affected by cancer.
Yes, I notice you haven't told them what the water temperature will be, Kaya. Good luck to you all. That's all our news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Enjoy your weekend. Good night.